Well, hail to you, champions. JayReimsGaming here. I hope you all are having an incredible day. Hopefully, I'll earn your subscription today. So don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as sharing this particular video with family and friends. I really do appreciate it. I do stream live normally Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. So don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss when I go live and any content releases. So the thing I kind of want to talk today is because I've been watching different YouTube videos about gaming, about games, among other things. And I thought this was actually a really interesting topic that I had been watching. And I kind of wanted to put my 2 cents in with it. So companies do the wrong thing for ROMs, add-ons, and exploits is the topic that I want to talk about today. So the first thing is do I see anything wrong with ripping or ROMing, people's personal games for their personal consumption? And I don't see there's anything wrong with that. I think where you definitely do get some issues with the legal system is when you start actually taking those games, ROMing them, pirating them. Instead of for your personal use, you start distributing it to other people, whether for gain or for free. That's when I think the legal ramifications start coming down on individuals when they start doing that. I think it's actually outside of that. I think it is a really good idea to definitely figure out how to keep these older games alive. I think what happens is over time, especially with these live games, with live services, eventually they can't keep them running. Eventually the servers become too much of a cost. It costs them money. They're not getting anything in from the game because they're not updating it because it's old or whatever. They've moved on to other IPs and so on and so forth. But there's definitely something to say for, okay, well, what do we do with these? Like, what happens when World of Warcraft 2 comes out and World of Warcraft is retired? Like, what happens to that game? What happens to those servers? Do they continue to have live servers for that game, or do they just close the books on it when it's not making them any more money, and then that's it? There's no more World of Warcraft or games like that. So if game companies won't preserve their history, then who will? And I think a lot of reasons people started doing ROMs is because there isn't really good live services when it comes to being able to play these older games, saving them, and things like that. I think lately, I know Nintendo has their own version of that. I know that they have released some games that are on a smaller device that kind of gives you that nostalgia of that console. So like the SNES, the SNES, the GameCube, things like that. And you get two controllers and you can play a few thousand games or whatever it is that are on there. And I think some people would agree that some of the ROMs could have been better. Some of the porting could have been better. And I think a lot of times it doesn't always end up being a good one-on-one when you go from one to another. And it's actually really interesting that we have the whole ROM communities that have happened in the past. I think there are still some more ROM communities out there, but I think some of the bigger ones were shut down by Nintendo, cease and desist letters and legal action and stuff like that. But it begs the question, if they're not going to do it, then who will? Like, these individuals that are doing it for their own personal selves, what's going to happen to all these games that have been beloved? What about all the games that we don't have, for the Nintendo, even though they do have them kind of slow rolling and slow updating onto the Nintendo Switch and things like that. But moving on from ROMs, what are your thoughts about add-ons for games? I think add-ons can be good and they can be bad, in the sense that it does change the way that the game plays. And I think a really good example is World of Warcraft, where you have things, like Raid HUD, when you have things like Healbot, and you have things and where it's just like one-click wonders to put the best heal. All you have to do is click a button. It's definitely changing the way that you play the game. And I think there's definitely some merit to that, especially with individuals who are struggling with gameplay, especially individuals who are disabled and they have to have certain add-ons in order to even play the game, and they love the game, and they have to use these things in order to even play it themselves. So I think there's definitely some merit to it, but I also see where the add-ons can change the game so much that you're not really playing the game anymore. And so I know World of Warcraft shut down some of these add-on companies that have been producing add-ons, not just for free, but also for profit. It's really sad that that happens, because some of these add-ons are actually really good and really beneficial. But at the same time, it does change the way that the game is played. Now, what are my thoughts about exploits? Now, I think a really good example that's happened pretty recently was the one with last Epoch, where there was a gold duping exploit, and they fixed it, I think, within the week. I think they did a few days, and their message was, we have taken care of this exploit, we have patched it, we've also banned all the people who have utilized this exploit, and we're going to move forward from this. And I was just like, okay, that's really interesting. So that begs the question, should we punish players who discover and utilize exploits? And what happened with last Epoch? I really think it's disingenuous to ban people for utilizing something within the game that was put there by the creators. And so in my feelings, like, these people that were able to dupe gold, they found it and just utilized it. It would be the same thing as finding a better boss to find better drops, because it's in the game, it's built into the game. Now, some people say, well, there's this moral issue, but it it doesn't really matter within a video game. If the exploit is there and it can be utilized, people are going to utilize it. So the best message is to say, hey, we found this exploit, we rolled back, the gold, so people were back to where they started before they started utilizing the exploit, and we patched it. We would recommend people no longer to try to utilize it anymore because it doesn't work. Rather than removing all the individuals that have purchased the game, they probably, put a lot of money into the game. And now they have to buy a whole new game, do a whole new account and everything to go back to playing the game. So, I mean, yeah, it's bad, and duping gold is not good, but it was in the game. It was something that they could not foresee, and they found it and they fixed it, which is good. But I just think that taking people out of the game for just using something that's already within the realm of the game is just kind of silly. Same thing with like duplicating items in Diablo 2. Yeah, it's bad, but fix it. Don't say, oh, well, we're going to ban all these people because they found this exploit. It's like, no, it's your fault that the game is not working properly. It's not the person's fault who's found it, in my opinion. So should large companies deal with these how should large companies deal with these individuals instead of shutting them down and demonizing them? I honestly think if World of Warcraft finds a really good group of people who are making great add-ons, I would probably put them on their add-on team and start implementing some of the things into the game permanently, especially if something that everybody is utilizing or feels like they need to utilize in order to even play the game properly. I think that would be number one, really good. And I think also these big companies like Nintendo and PlayStation and stuff like that, I think they should probably hire these people who have made these incredible ROMs that play super duper well, and maybe even giving them a job and maybe accumulating their business model and get those people in there and then have them continue to help them with making ROMs. I think that would be a much better outcome than just straight up throwing legal action at everybody, wasting lots and lots of money instead of finding a way to better your company because there's something that you didn't see that other people find interesting and could potentially increase your bottom line. I don't know. These are just my thoughts. I'm sure you're going to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications to miss content release. I do live stream Friday through Sunday, and I hope to see you guys all there. I love you all very much, and from my family to yours, good night.